What's up, Explorers? I'm Jeff from the Cloud Explorers. And welcome back to the Microsoft AI Advent Calendar, the Winter Party Exploration Series. Today, it's day 5, and that means we're gonna open up box number 5. Drum rolls. Ta-da! So, today we're gonna talk about service models that are used by Azure OpenAI Service and see how we can use them. But before we jump in, a little bit of a recap from what I found to, as simply as possible, explain what a model is, also for myself. And this is the simplest explanation I found on the internet. So, what is a model for dummies? Data goes in, a lot of parameters are present inside the model, some mad shit happens, and an answer comes out. And this is a very oversimplified version of a model. The real models look more something in the vicinity of a multitude of this, I would say, because I was able to find that the GPT-3 model, for example, has 175 billion of parameters. And for GPT-4, it was kind of difficult to find because there's a lot of stuff on the internet floating that's not confirmed. But I was able to find that training it cost more than 100 million, which is astonishing. So amazing technology that you can use by simply creating an Azure OpenAI service. And you have a 100 million word model at your disposal. So let's find out where do we start about models? And obviously, it's on learn.microsoft.com, Azure AI Service Models page. And I'm going to link it down below. I'm not going to read it all. It's a quite extensive page that explains the models that are present, although the list here is slightly out of date. We're going to see that in a second. And it basically explains the availability of every model, what it does, what its purpose is. For example, GPT 3.5 can understand, generate natural language code, most capable and cost-effective model. DALL-E, currently in preview, generates images from text prompts that users provide, etc., etc. So, in one of the previous episodes, I think episode 2, we created a OpenAI service, and this is an instance of such an OpenAI service. If we open it up, you'll end up here. As you can see, it's an empty service, and the models are listed under models. So this is what is currently available to my Azure OpenAI service, which is created in Sweden Central. All the variations of those models that we just saw, there's an opportunity to create your own model, which you base off one of the existing ones. And so how do we use them? Well, from the user interface perspective, it's quite easy. Either you are here and you click create a model, it will redirect you to deployments, and that's how we actually create a model. We create a deployment of it. Simply select it. So let's say Turbo. Do you want a specific version or auto update to default? Well, let's try this one. Deployment name. This GPT 3.5 Turbo manual deployment. Create. It's created pretty much instant. You have some information here, and you can open it in a playground and start typing. Hello, how are you? So that's pretty much it when it comes to creating models through the portal. Now let's dig in and see if we can create the same model through the same deployment using Bicep. And for that, we will use the starter kit for Microsoft AI services repo that I've created and shared with you on day 2. And again, the link for day 5 will be down below. So we started out there with a quick, let's do a quick recap with a controller, which basically deploys or Azure OpenAI Service using the Cognitive Services module. So we're gonna extend on that module. So this is the module we've used last time. I've added Sweden Central to it because East US ended up giving me some issues with regards to high capacity limitations, etc. So how do we go from this to a model? Well, for that, we need to use a deployment. And the deployment is described in Azure, in the Bicep and ARM templates on Microsoft Learn. You can simply find under Cognitive Services instead of account, there's a deployment. And this is pretty much the raw version of such a deployment. So I took this version and added a couple of them. So let's start with the GPT 3.5 Turbo. So simply create a resource symbolic name, reference the deployments, make sure pick up the latest API version, give it a name, give it and provide its SKU, which if you're not sure which one it is, you can go ahead and check it in the portal when we're creating it. So it's actually the same information. So if we go for 3.5 Turbo, we have two model versions and the SKU for it. Then we have the properties, the OpenAI format, making sure the name of the model and its version. So it's exactly as we do through the portal. Model version, deployment name obviously is the name. And there's one thing to notice here is the version upgrade option. And I put it on once new default version available, but there are three other options here. No auto upgrade, once current version expired, or once new default version available, which is what I have now. And this is the selection goes for the model versions that you see here, whether it will be upgraded for you automatically or not, if you want to keep the model. So let's save, run our deployment script, and see if we can create a model. So if we would go back to the actual service, to the resource group, we should see a deployment going. You can see the AI starter kit is deploying. The starter kit, Azure OpenAI Service being deployed. And normally this took me a couple of seconds, maybe a couple of minutes, I guess. There you go. The service is deployed. Let's double check. At least the module has finished running. So now the controller needs to finalize everything. And that one is done as well. And if everything is okay, we see here succeeded. And let's have a look in the actual model list. So cancel, refresh, and there you go. We created the the GPT 3.5 Turbo deployment. We deployed the GPT 3.5 Turbo model using deployments using Bicep. And we can do the same for any of the models that are listed here under models. So let's give it a spin and let's create two more in the meantime and see how that goes. So what I like is for myself for playing around is to have Turbo, to have DALL-E 3 for images, and have the GPT-4 and then the preview one, because I like to play around with preview versions. So save the file, do a deployment, and let's see. In the meantime, we can go ahead or either click through this one and go to Open in Playground, or simply go to chat because it's a chat model and select the deployment here and ask it any kind of questions. What do you think about Azure OpenAI Service? I'm interested. I've never asked this question actually. I don't have a personal opinions and thoughts. So basically it reads up about the service. And let's see. Yes, the deployment is done in the meantime and it failed. So this is something that happened to me in the past as well. Well, the deployment says it finished running, the one that we just did, the GPT 3.5, but actually in the background it's still being provisioned, and you end up with a conflict. So how to handle this? Well, don't deploy models, don't redeploy the same model very quickly after it has been deployed. I'm not sure what the timeout version here as well. I guess this is something that Microsoft still needs to dial in a little bit, because everything shows that our previous model, which is the this one, the OAI GPT 3.5 Turbo, it has been deployed and is completely done. But when you run Bicep script again, sometimes this happens if you do it too soon. So the deployment should have failed. Let's see. Yeah. The other ones are successful, however, so that's very cool. We can see the DALL-E 3 and the GPT-4, and we can have a look at them here. We have GPT-4, same thing, new session is started, and under DALL-E we have DALL-E 3 available. So, and that is it with regards to models. So if you want to see more on Microsoft AI, check out the previous episodes, how this has been created, all the background information that I was able to gather. And don't forget to subscribe to not miss the next episode. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, download the shit out of it. Thanks for watching, and until next time, bye bye.